The massive Imperial flagship floated silently in Earth's orbit. Its hull gleamed like polished metal in the sunlight. Admiral Q walked across the command deck with slow, measured steps. His gray uniform bore many medals that showed his high rank in the Galactic Empire. "We have arrived at the target system, Admiral," said Officer Min, looking up from her screen. "Scans show 7 planets, with the third one showing signs of advanced civilization." Q nodded and looked out at the blue planet below. His people had done this hundreds of times before. The Galactic Empire had ruled the stars for over 5,000 years. They had brought thousands of alien species under their control. This would be no different. "Deploy the fleet in standard formation," Q ordered. Behind his flagship, 200 warships moved into a half-circle pattern. It was designed to impress and intimidate the natives. Officer Min studied her readings with a frown. "Admiral, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from their orbital stations. These readings don't match any known technology in our database." "Interesting, but not concerning," Q replied. "Primitive species often develop along unusual paths. Begin the standard contact procedure." The communications officer, a young man named Jai, activated the Empire's universal translator, broadcasting on all frequencies. "Admiral." The message went out to Earth. It was the same one the Empire had used for thousands of years. It explained who they were: the mighty Galactic Empire, rulers of 1,000,000 worlds. It detailed the benefits of joining the Empire: protection, trade, technology. And it clearly stated the alternative: resistance would be met with overwhelming force. Q waited patiently. Most species responded with fear or awe. Some tried to fight, but quickly surrendered when they saw the Empire's power. None had ever successfully resisted. "Admiral, we're receiving a response," Jai announced. "Visual communication request." "Accept it," Q ordered, straightening his uniform. First impressions were important in these matters. The main screen on the bridge lit up. It showed a human woman in a simple blue uniform. She had short black hair and dark eyes that seemed to study Q with unusual intensity. "This is Captain Hannah of the Earth Defense Fleet," she said in a calm voice. "We have received your message." Q stepped forward. "I am Admiral Q of the Galactic Empire. We come offering the hand of friendship and incorporation into our great society. Your world will benefit greatly from." He stopped speaking when he noticed something strange. Captain Hannah's lips were twitching. Then her face broke into a smile. And then she did something that had never happened in all of Q's long career. She laughed. It wasn't nervous laughter. It was genuine amusement, as if Q had told a good joke. Behind her, other humans on her bridge were also smiling or trying to hide their laughter. "I'm sorry," Captain Hannah said, composing herself. "Please continue." Confused, Q repeated the standard terms of submission to the Empire. As he spoke about the Empire's invincible fleet and how resistance was futile, the human captain's smile grew wider. "Admiral Q," she said when he finished, "I'm afraid there's been a misunderstanding. Earth is not interested in submission. However, we would be happy to discuss equal diplomatic relations." Q was stunned. "Equal relations? The Empire does not have equals. We have ruled the galaxy for 5,000 years. And that's a very impressive achievement," Hannah replied. "But it doesn't change our position." "You don't understand your situation," Q said sternly. "Our fleet could reduce your cities to ash." "Could it?" Hannah asked, raising an eyebrow. "Why don't you send a small delegation to visit our ship? I think you might find it educational." Before Q could respond, Officer Min's voice cut in with alarm. "Admiral, our sensors are detecting energy buildups around Earth's defense platforms. They're targeting our ships." "Impossible," Q said. "Their technology is primitive." "Not as primitive as you might think," Captain Hannah said from the screen, her smile now gone. "We've been watching your empire for some time, Admiral. Your technology hasn't changed much in centuries, has it?" For the first time in his long career, Admiral Q felt uncertain. The humans should have been afraid. They should have begged for mercy. Instead, they were looking at his mighty fleet and laughing. Perhaps, Q said slowly, a delegation would be appropriate after all. Captain Hana's smile returned. Excellent. We look forward to showing you around. And Admiral, you might want to prepare yourself. What you're about to see will challenge everything you believe about your empire's superiority. As the communication ended, Q stared at the blue planet below. For the first time in 5,000 years, the Galactic Empire faced something new, a species that wasn't impressed. Captain Hana ended the transmission and let out a long breath. Around her, the bridge crew of the Earth vessel, Resilience, exchanged glances. Some were still smiling. "Did you see his face?" asked Commander June, Hana's second-in-command. He was trying not to laugh again. "I thought his eyes would pop out when you laughed at him." Hana nodded, brushing a strand of black hair from her face. "I couldn't help it. That speech was so theatrical. Bow before our mighty empire or face destruction. It was like something from an old movie." The bridge of the Resilience was smaller than the Imperial flagship's command deck. It had been designed for efficiency rather than show. 6 officers worked at their stations, monitoring the Imperial fleet that hung in orbit above Earth. "They really believe we're primitive," said Engineer Ta, looking up from his console. He was older than the others, with gray at his temples. "Their scans are barely scratching our defense systems." Hana walked to the main view screen, studying the Imperial ships. "That's our advantage. Earth has been watching them for 3 years now. We've intercepted their communications, studied their technology. They have no idea what we're capable of." 3 years earlier, Earth's deep space telescopes had detected unusual energy signatures at the edge of the solar system. Investigation revealed Imperial scout ships quietly observing Earth. Instead of making contact, Earth's leaders had made a bold decision. They would watch the Watchers, gathering as much information as possible before first contact. "Officer Park, what's the status of our defense grid?" Hana asked. A young woman with short hair looked up from her station. "All platforms are online, Captain. Energy shields are at full capacity. If they attack, we can protect all major cities." Hana nodded. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that." "Do you think they will?" asked June, his voice more serious now. "They might," Hana replied. "The Empire isn't used to being laughed at, but that's why we showed them we're ready. Bullies think twice when their targets can fight back." The doors to the bridge slid open, and Dr. Jin entered. He was the ship's chief scientist, a tall man with glasses and a thoughtful expression. "I've finished analyzing their last communication burst," he announced. "It's fascinating. Their technology is incredibly advanced in some ways, but strangely outdated in others. They're still using quantum fold drives from 3 centuries ago." "What about their weapons?" June asked. "Plasma-based, very powerful, but inefficient," Dr. Jin said. "They'd waste enormous energy. Our deflection fields should be effective against them." Hana smiled. "That's what happens when no one challenges you for thousands of years. You stop innovating." She looked at the screen again, at the massive Imperial ships. They were beautiful in a way, with their sleek designs and crystalline elements. But they were also relics of an empire that had grown complacent. "Captain," called Officer Park suddenly. "The flagship is hailing us again." "Put them through," Hana ordered, straightening her uniform. Admiral Q's face appeared on screen. He looked less confident now, more cautious. "Captain Hana, I have considered your invitation. I will bring a small delegation to your vessel." "Excellent," Hana replied. "We look forward to meeting you." When the transmission ended, Joan turned to Hana. "What exactly are you planning to show them?" Hana's smile was small but determined, just enough to make them reconsider their opinion of humans. Later, in her private quarters, Hana reviewed Earth's files on the Galactic Empire. The information had been gathered secretly over 3 years. Communications intercepted, technology analyzed, cultural information pieced together. The Empire was vast, controlling thousands of worlds across the galaxy. They had ruled unchallenged for millennia. Their technology had once been the most advanced in known space, but over time they had stopped developing. Why change what already worked? Meanwhile, Earth had faced its own challenges: limited resources, environmental problems, political conflicts. These hardships had forced humans to innovate, to find creative solutions, to do more with less. Hana's communicator beeped. "Captain," came Engineer Tay's voice. "The transport system is ready for the Imperial delegation." "Thank you, Ta," she replied. "I'll be right there." She stood and looked out her window at Earth below. Blue oceans, white clouds, green and brown landmasses. Home. Worth protecting. The Galactic Empire had come expecting to find another primitive species to add to their collection. Instead, they had found humans, adaptable, resourceful, and unimpressed by displays of power. "Time to show Admiral Q what he's really dealing with," Hana murmured to herself as she left her quarters. In the transport room, her crew waited. The air hummed with excitement and tension. In a few minutes, representatives of a galactic civilization would stand on their ship. History was about to be made. And if all went according to plan, the Empire would leave with a new understanding. Humans would not be conquered. They would be respected. The transport room of the Resilience glowed with soft blue light as three figures appeared on the platform. Admiral Q stood in the center, his gray uniform perfectly pressed. Two security officers flanked him, their hands resting on weapons at their sides. "Welcome aboard the Resilience," Captain Hana said, stepping forward with a small bow. It was not the deep bow of submission the Empire usually expected, but a simple gesture of greeting between equals. Admiral Q's golden eyes took in the transport room with obvious curiosity. "Your technology is unexpected," he said carefully. "Thank you for coming," Hana replied. "Please follow me. We have prepared a short tour." As they walked through the corridors of the human ship, Admiral Q noticed the efficient design. There were no grand hallways or decorative elements like on Imperial vessels. Everything served a purpose. "Your ship is smaller than I expected," Q commented. "We prefer efficiency over size," Hana explained. "This way, please." They entered the engineering section, where Engineer Ta waited next to a large display screen. He nodded respectfully to the visitors. "Admiral Q, this is our Chief Engineer Tay," Hana said. "He will explain some of our technology to you." Tai activated the screen, showing a diagram of the ship's drive system. "This is our propulsion technology," he began. "What does your Empire use for faster-than-light travel, Admiral?" Q looked slightly uncomfortable at being asked questions, but answered, "The Empire uses quantum fold drives. They have served us well for many centuries." Ta nodded. "Quantum fold technology is impressive, but it has limitations." He touched the screen, changing the display. "This is our slip drive system. It uses a different approach to space-time manipulation." Hugh studied the diagram with growing interest. "These energy patterns, they're unlike anything I've seen before. Our system uses 20% less energy than a quantum fold drive," Ta continued, "and it can achieve nearly twice the speed." One of Q's security officers whispered something in his ear, but the Admiral waved him silent. "That is difficult to believe." "Would you like a demonstration?" Hana asked. Before Q could answer, Officer Park's voice came through the ship's communication system. "Captain, we're detecting energy buildups in 3 Imperial vessels. They appear to be moving into attack positions." Hana's expression hardened. She looked at Q. "It seems some of your people are getting impatient, Admiral." Q touched a device on his wrist. "Commander Du, what is happening?" he demanded. A voice replied, "Admiral, we are preparing to show these humans the consequences of disrespect. 3 ships will target their orbital defenses only." "I did not authorize this," Q said sharply. Hana touched her own communicator. "This is the captain. Deploy defense units 3 and 5. Non-lethal responses only. She turned to Q. It seems our demonstration will be more practical than planned. Please, come with me to the bridge. On the Resilience's bridge, the main screen showed 3 Imperial warships breaking formation and moving toward Earth's defense platforms. They were massive vessels, their hulls gleaming with weaponry. Those are Thunderclap-class destroyers, Q said. They can reduce entire cities to ash. Hana nodded to Officer Park. Show the Admiral our defense units. The screen split to show 5 small human ships leaving Earth's orbit. They were barely a tenth the size of the Imperial destroyers. Those cannot stand against thunderclaps, Hugh said, almost apologetically. Watch, Hannah replied simply. The Imperial ships fired first. Brilliant beams of energy shot toward the human vessels and Earth's orbital platforms. But before they could hit, the small human ships activated something. The energy beams seemed to bend around them, dissipating harmlessly into space. Deflection fields, Todd explained. They don't try to block energy. That's wasteful. They redirect it. The human ships moved with incredible speed, executing maneuvers that the larger Imperial vessels couldn't match. They darted around the destroyers, attaching small devices to their hulls. What are they doing? Hugh asked, his composure slipping. Showing restraint, Hannah replied. Those are temporary system disruptors. Watch. One by one, the lights on the Imperial destroyers went dark. Their weapons powered down. Their engines stopped. They drifted helplessly in space. The effects will wear off in about 30 minutes, Tai explained. No permanent damage, just a pause for thought. Admiral Q stared at the screen in silence. Finally, he turned to Hana. This is impossible. Your technology cannot be this advanced. You are a single planet. The Empire spans thousands of worlds. But we've had to solve our problems differently, Hana explained. When you have limited resources, you learn to innovate. When your survival depends on efficiency, you find better solutions. The Empire has been unchallenged for too long, Tai added. Without challenges, there is no need to improve. Unlike the previous devices, these didn't shut down the Imperial vessels. Instead, they began to interfere with their targeting systems, communications, and sensors. We're blind, Du shouted as his screens filled with static. Around him, other officers frantically tried to restore their systems. The Imperial attack formation broke apart as ships lost contact with each other. Some fired weapons randomly, hoping to hit the invisible attackers. Instead, they hit other Imperial vessels, causing damage to their own fleet. From the flagship, Admiral Q and Minister G watched in disbelief. Impossible, Jai whispered. 15 of our best ships. Q's communicator chimed. It was Captain Hana. Admiral, she said, her face appearing on his personal screen. I hope this demonstration is clear enough. We don't want to destroy your ships or harm your people, but we will not submit to the Empire. The Emperor will never accept this, Minister G said, leaning into view of the communicator. He will send our entire fleet if necessary. Then many will die needlessly, Hannah replied calmly. Or you could tell him that Earth offers something better than submission. We offer partnership. Our different approaches to technology could benefit both our peoples. After the communication ended, Minister G turned to Q with fury in his eyes. This is humiliation. The Empire does not partner with anyone. But Admiral Q was staring thoughtfully at the disabled fleet. Perhaps, he said slowly, after 5,000 years, it's time for something new. He turned to his communications officer. Send a message to the Emperor. Tell him he should come see this for himself. The Imperial vessel Supreme Dominion appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system 2 weeks later. It dwarfed all other ships in the Imperial fleet. Its hull gleamed with a silvery blue light that seemed to bend the stars around it. This was the personal ship of Emperor Sung, ruler of the Galactic Empire. Captain Hannah stood on the bridge of the Resilience, watching the massive ship approach. It's beautiful, she admitted. And 5 times larger than any other Imperial vessel, added Commander June, studying the sensor readings. The power output is incredible. A communication request flashed on the main screen. Hannah nodded to Officer Park, who accepted it. The face that appeared belonged to a tall man with sharp features and piercing eyes. He wore no crown or obvious symbols of rank, just a simple black uniform with a small silver emblem. But his presence commanded attention immediately. "I am Emperor Sung," he said simply. "I wish to meet with Earth's leaders." 3 hours later, Captain Hannah found herself in a large meeting room at the United Earth headquarters in Geneva. Representatives from all major Earth nations sat around a circular table. Emperor Sung sat opposite the Earth Council chairperson, with Admiral Q standing behind him. "For 5,000 years, Emperor Sung was saying, the Empire has grown by incorporating new worlds and species. All have eventually recognized the benefits of our rule." The chairperson, an older woman with silver hair, nodded politely. "We understand your tradition, Emperor Sung. But Earth has its own traditions. One of them is self-determination. Your ships disabled 15 of our warships," the Emperor noted. His voice wasn't angry, just matter of fact. "Admiral Q tells me you could have destroyed them, but chose not to." "We don't seek conflict," said Captain Hannah, who had been invited to speak due to her role in the first contact. "We seek understanding." Emperor Sung studied her for a moment. "Understanding," he repeated. An interesting choice of words. "Most species seek power, or wealth, or security. We seek those too," Hannah replied. "But we've learned through our history that understanding others is the best path to achieving all those things." The Emperor gestured to Admiral Q, who activated a small device. A holographic display appeared, showing the human deflection technology and drive systems. "Your technology is unusual," the Emperor said. "You've taken different approaches than the Empire in many areas. Some of your solutions are superior to ours." This admission seemed to surprise the Imperial officials standing behind him. One of them, Minister G, frowned deeply. 5,000 years of doing things one way creates patterns that are hard to break, the chairperson said diplomatically. "Indeed," the Emperor replied. For the first time, a small smile appeared on his face, "which is why I find your proposal intriguing. Not submission, but partnership." He stood and walked to the window, looking out at the city of Geneva below. "Tell me, why did your captain laugh when Admiral Q first contacted you?" The room fell silent. Finally, Hannah spoke. "It wasn't mockery, Your Excellency. It was recognition. Your approach to diplomacy seemed so familiar to us. Like our own history, when powerful nations would demand others submit or face destruction. We outgrew that approach centuries ago." The Emperor turned, his eyes finding Hannah's. "And you believe the Empire should outgrow it too?" "I believe," Hannah said carefully, "that after 5,000 successful years, the greatest risk to the Empire is becoming too set in its ways. Too comfortable." For a long moment, Emperor Sung was silent. Then, to everyone's surprise, he laughed. It was a warm, genuine sound that transformed his severe face. "In 5,000 years," he said, "no one has ever called the Empire comfortable to its face." 1 month later, the first official treaty between Earth and the Galactic Empire was signed. It wasn't a document of submission, but of mutual cooperation. Earth would join the galactic community as an independent ally, sharing its technological innovations while gaining access to the stars. On the observation deck of the Resilience, Captain Hannah and Admiral Q stood watching as human and Imperial engineers worked together on a new joint project. "Your Emperor surprised me," Hannah admitted. "I expected more resistance to change." "He has ruled for 300 years, Q replied. "In that time, he has seen the Empire grow. Stagnant in some ways. Your people's approach, your different way of solving problems, it interested him. And Minister G, he seemed less enthusiastic." Hugh smiled slightly. Minister Jai represents the old way of thinking, but even he cannot argue with results. He gestured to where Engineer Ta was explaining something to an Imperial scientist. Already, your deflection technology is being adapted for our ships. And we're learning about your star mapping techniques, Hana added. Below them, Earth rotated peacefully. Above, the stars beckoned. The galaxy was about to change, all because humans had responded to intimidation not with fear, but with laughter. To new beginnings, Q said, attempting the human custom of raising an imaginary toast. Hana smiled. To new beginnings.